Hey everyone, welcome back to our final outlook for 2024, and obviously this is also going to be the first outlook for January 2025. A very happy new year to all of you guys. All right, just a very quick outlook this week. There's not much to talk about from the fundamental aspect there. We don't have a lot going on last week in terms of the data. We do have that durable goods orders from the US, a little bit lower than what the market is expecting. We also had the RBA meeting minutes. And for this week, we are going to be looking at some final numbers from China, and we are going to be looking at the ISM manufacturing PMI. This is going to be the first data that's going to be released from the US next week. And again, we are looking at pretty much a stable market here, about 48.3 in terms of the consensus there, to 48.5 for forecasting. So pretty much about the same as the previous number at 48.4. All right, let's just jump into the technicals here. Again, we're not expecting a lot to go on this week. This is obviously the transition that happens here. A lot of traders, pretty much all the traders is already pretty much on holiday right now. So we do expect very thin trading in the market. We don't expect a lot of range movement. And if we judge by the movement from last week for the Aussie USD, we are expecting about the same range to happen again. We are expecting that 62 cents to about 62.50 to kind of play out this week. So we're going to be looking at the distance in terms of range between the support one on the weekly all the way up to the resistance one on the weekly, which is pretty much kept out at 62.50. So not expecting a lot of price movement here for the Aussie USD. Same thing with the Euro USD. We do see a little bit of a recovery last week for the Euro USD, but as the Christmas rolls in, you can see where the market is just kind of stalling at this point in time. So we are looking at, again, anticipating the range between the support one weekly, which is at 1.0385 there as a support there. And in terms of resistance, we're going to be looking at the market being capped pretty much at about 1.0450. That's just slightly above the Tenkan-sen, and also where the resistance one weekly is going to be located. Pivot is kind of hovering pretty much at about 1.04 at this point in time. So again, we're looking for a little bit of a quiet market here. We are expecting more of a thin trading. There's a lot of hesitation in the market right now because of what the FOMC has decided to announce in December. And again, because of that, we are kind of expecting a little bit more of a hesitant market. We're expecting less traders entering the market there at the end of the year here. We're expecting, more traders to come in pretty much in January. That's where we expect a little bit more of a bigger volatility in the market there. All right. Pound USD here right now, again, we have bounced off that 1.2550 range. But for this week, again, we're going to be looking at where market is being kept out pretty much at about 1.26 to 1.2610. That's where the resistance one is located. And also that's where we have that resistance trend line capping the market from progressing any further. So at this point in time, expecting thin trading. That would be the resistance. And in terms of support, we're going to be looking at the first support at 1.2550, but ultimately price can move all the way down to 1.25. Now compare this to the Aussie USD and the Euro USD. The sterling here has a much bigger range. We are expecting about a 1 cent movement here this week for the pound USD, and this would be considered a very thin trading for the sterling here. All right, lastly, we have the dollar Japanese yen, and for the dollar Japanese yen, we're not at that overbought condition there. We do see that exhaustion in the market. You can see where price has been stalling pretty much at about 158 at this point in time. But 127.2% extension still points to 159. That means there's a high probability that for the dollar Japanese yen, it's likely going to be well supported at where the pivot is, which is at about 157.40 to 157.50. In terms of the resistance, we are really looking at 158.50 followed by 159 there for resistance on the Dow Japanese yen. And that's pretty much it. There could also be a scenario where the Dow Japanese yen could actually just remain flat, and we're not really looking at a lot of movement, a lot of changes from the current pricing. But yeah, in terms of where the Dow Japanese yen is, it does look a little bit exhausted, but we don't have any confirmation for any overbought condition. That means the Dow yen could actually still grind towards those resistances, which is at 158.50 and 159. All right, so that's pretty much it. We are wrapping up 2024 and we're welcoming 2025. Have a fantastic holiday, stay safe, and a very happy new year.